Welcome to this crazy adventure. Can you close the deal in 24 HRS with my info? Some bosses aren't too thrilled, and you look like a bundle of nerves. For safety's sake, Old Dan quickly ducked into the bar restroom to hold a meeting. Once he confirmed the capsule was good, he expertly injected top-secret info like a mad scientist, almost killing himself in the process. But just as he was about to leave, a bold assassin popped up out of nowhere. Talk about lightning speed. Before anyone could react, Old Dan defeated his foe and found a beefy man to replace him. Subtitle: The muscular man went out to draw attention, while Old Dan took Eric and ran out through the back door. Unexpectedly, Eric was still killed by a lurking assassin. Dan hit the gas. No time for jokes now. He slammed the accelerator and zoomed into the next lane, only to be hit by a car out of nowhere. Though he was seeing stars, Old Dan kept his cool and dug out Eric's ID. Talk about being tough. He slung on his bag and blended in with the crowd like a spy, and the mass of people totally blocked the assassin. The big boss had to yell orders while hoping to find him. Talk about multitasking. Old Dan's disguise worked for a moment, but seasoned assassins are too good. They tracked him down, and the action was on. Just when he thought he was in the clear, two more teams of assassins showed up, and panic set in. He ditched his gun and made a break for the consulate. What a wild escape. For now, he was off the hook, but ended up in military custody. Not quite a rosy future. News of his capture reached the CIA, and everyone acted like it was a fire drill on a steep mountain. After defecting a decade ago to sell secrets to China and Russia, he just walked into a trap. Something's fishy. Deputy Director White suggested they grill Old Dan for all the juicy secrets. With time running extremely short, the director decided to bring Old Dan to a safe house for interrogation, hoping it wouldn't turn out to be just a big show. Rookie agent Matt, in charge of the Cape Town safe house, had no idea he was part of the big picture. He was eager to serve his country, but here he was talk about punchline. The only highlight was meeting his girlfriend Anna, adding a splash of color to his dull life. But just as he was waiting for the clock to tick down, he got a phone call that flipped his world upside down. With a look of delight, he opened the safe and took out his nearly rusty gun, getting ready for a wild adventure. Soon, the task force arrived outside the safe house, ready to welcome the new guest. When Matt caught sight of Old Dan being interrogated, his mouth dropped wide open in astonishment. This was definitely not an ordinary visitor. Subtitle: Old Dan is the sole surviving legend from the CIA class. He's truly a living legend. Without the need for further words, they immediately subjected him to waterboarding. What an absolutely joyful gathering this turned out to be. Just then, the safe house alarms went off. Everyone was in for a surprise. The team leader quickly called for defensive prep, while Matt had no clue of the responsibility he had taken on. The next moment, the assassins blew open the door of the safe house. It seems a fight is about to begin. Subtitles: Old Dan starts his psychological tactics, while Matt is busy scrambling to find a way to deal. Shut up, I'm thinking. I want to be the guy who closes the door. Matt fumbled and reluctantly opened the password door. But then he saw the team leader getting whacked, and his heart sank. What now? After calming down, he quickly dragged Old Dan out. Talk about efficiency. Matt flagged down a car and stuffed Old Dan into the trunk. What a brilliant escape. He sped away while reporting the attack on the safe house to the CIA. But to prevent causing any diplomatic disputes, the director rejected Matt's application to enter the U.S. consulate. What a terrible day indeed. Just then, the assassins arrived, and Matt got his head in the game, trying to shake them off. He swerved the wheel like a magician, his driving skill slicker than a fish. Too bad he wasn't harmed. The car became a target fast time for some tricky maneuvers. At the critical moment, Matt swerved into oncoming traffic, expertly shaking off the assassins. But old Dan was struggling violently in the trunk and ended up choking Matt with the handcuffs. Matt panicked and suddenly slammed on the brakes to throw off Dan. What an unexpected twist. Luckily, he had his seatbelt on, or that could have been a disaster. What a lucky break. Eventually, Matt found a car that actually started. What a stroke of luck. This time, he learned his lesson. Sitting in the back with a gun on old Dan, they took off like a runaway train. Old Dan knew Matt would pull a counter-surveillance, so he planned to head toward Rancho Town. Subtitle, but Matt quickly called a halt. It seems that old Dan's trick didn't work. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more awesome content.